I'd like to welcome everyone to Page Executive's latest edition of Leading Women. My name is Steve Parks, and I'm a senior partner with Page Executive based in Hong Kong. Today, I have the absolute privilege of speaking with Jane Lowe. Over Jane's career, she's worked across North America and Asia for some of the world's top multinational companies, including Emerson, General Electric, and Iron Mountain. In 2019, Jane joined Duracell in Hong Kong to take on the position of Senior Director and P&L Owner for Duracell's professional business across Asia. We want to kick things off with what I'm calling Jane at Work. What story can you share from your experiences that is unique to being a woman in the workplace?
When I first started my career, obviously as a fresh graduate from school, you jump into a workplace where whoever hire you want to get you into the work, right? So at that time, it was either a merchandising role in the garment industry or electronics role. And I happened to be jump into electronics. So working for a family business, and it's very technical. As you said, I graduate from a business school, so I have no idea about technical engineering. And surrounding me in the board table is always a group of gentlemen. And I remember that was the time when I really tumbled. And then my boss actually pointed at me and said, "Jane, do I need to hire somebody else to help you?" That was really a kind of like a difficult moment in my early career. But you know what? I met a lot of good people and coached me along the way. So I guess, you know what, for all the women out there, there might be times that you really feel defeated, but especially when you are surrounded by more male colleagues and peers, I think it's really up to yourself to say, you know what, you can do it.
But what advice would you give other mentors?
When I was the mentor for the Women's Network, it was actually not a mentor-mentee relationship. We treat each other like a friend, and we continue to meet up, and we talk a little bit more personal stuff and also kind of the professional stuff. Of course, the objective is you can coach somebody. But I guess even as a mentor, there's always room for yourself to learn something new from the other. Even though it might not be necessary from job perspective, but there's a personal things in life that they might inspire you for something different. So I always suggested that even though you are in a mentor role, you have the listening skills. I mean, listen to where the mentee is sharing with you. What are they really looking at? And rather than feeling that this is like the hierarchy, that I'm the mentor, you're the mentee, but it's really more a peer where you can learn from each other. I have been in a position where I am mentored by somebody before, and for me, this is another reason why I love the mentoring program, because I feel that I benefit from somebody, and now I would like to give back a little bit for the people who would like to have it as well.
Yeah.
But I also becomes actually part of the network, because you know what, you really learn more from each other. I guess we complement, right? So it's also depends on who you're pairing with sometimes. And one of the good things is they will pair you with somebody that is kind of looking for something of the similar interest, so it helps as well. But even sometimes if you pair with somebody, I remember another mentor shared with me one time that her mentee was really different style, and she really has to adapt into it, which is also another benefits, right? Even as a mentor. So seriously, it's just really open up yourself. Forget about who's the mentor, who's the mentee. It's really about learning from each other, and having a peer or relationship in that way.
From a personal context, do you ever doubt yourself? Do you ever doubt your decisions, doubt what you've either done or what you may need to do? Is there ever that doubt factor that comes into your mind?
Of course. Every day, sometimes, even today, because you know what, you have a responsibility as a leader, but you're not the only one to execute everything. You work with your team, you work with even your manager around you, you work with the peers internationally. Sometimes you're really not sure exactly how it's being perceived and what are they thinking, or are we even aligned? So there will be moments where you commit to something and it might turn out to the way you are, or it may not. And you basically will be questioning yourself, feeling that you are defeated, you're not making any progress, and you doubt yourself as like, damn, what is it? How stupid I am, right? But I think a little bit of my personality probably is like, you know what, just cry for a couple of months and move on.
Yeah.
Same thing. And in business, this is exactly what it is. Things could happen. Again, using COVID that we are in. I remember it was when it first hit. I was actually just got back from US for my US trip, and then in 5 days, the COVID shut down everything that we had. Then we joked about it and say, well, the border is going to open in April with Easter, but it was Easter last year. Yes. And then it was like, okay, it will be the summer, and then it will be the December, and now it's like 2021 April. So lots of things that you are doubting, whether you make a business decisions or should we continue to grow the business? Should we not grow the business? Where's this COVID going to take us? Personally, it's like, okay, am I going to stay here? Do I have a job? Because I'm sure out there, the audience, some of them is questioning what is the future, especially with the economy happening around us, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's okay to doubt. But I think it would not be okay for myself to doubt to a point where you stop.
Did you ever feel as though you were being left behind because of your gender?
Seriously, not a second. Not even when I was 17. I guess I never really put gender in front of me. So when I actually felt that if I were behind, it was more the decisions of that time. Again, let me give you an example, Steve. Because of my detour, so to speak, right, of my career for that 5-6 years that I took on the initiative, some of my peer level has actually moved on. And before I moved back to Hong Kong, some of those peers were a CEO of a company. So you kind of like, okay, I'm still just kind of like a VP or GM, and that you felt that, well, I should be at that level.
Right.
But you know what? There's always trade-off with any decisions. I had a very good experience in Canada, professionally and also personally. I enjoy my time there. So this is the trade-off that you made, right? So rather than thinking that this is a gender thing, I would say that this is more a personal choice.
Okay.
And professional world, I don't think necessarily people would start with gender. It's more, I would hope that, although there are people saying that it does, but I hope that people are seeing more the capabilities and the ability of the person, see beyond that. And sometimes I really prefer not to put gender as a discussion.
Okay.
Like you value who I am, and I manage my life and I manage myself as a leader, as a female.
What advice do you give to the female community? What would you share with them that you thought was a great piece of advice or a great piece of knowledge that you can pass on?
I'm not sure. Like, we can make mistakes. It could happen, whether you are male, female, young, old, or whatever. But at the end, it's more reflecting. Reflect on what you do, how you do it. Do you enjoy yourself? Because when you enjoy yourself, you're half success, 50% success.
Yeah.
Because you will put your heart into doing something. And then really, if you didn't get to where you are, reflect on what happened. What should be my next step? How should I do it again? And this it sounds very process and it sounds like very business, but at the end of the day, it is also about your personal, right? I mean, if you decided, I want to live in this area, what do I need to do? I need to get to find a house, right? So this is still a process. It's not like it sounds like this is only applying at work. I think the generation, especially the younger generation now, they are a little bit more privileged. I mean, my mom told me, "Oh, you guys are very privileged because you didn't have the war, you didn't have any. You guys already kind of put into it, and economy where it's growing, right? Even in the 60s and 70s. But same thing for the younger generation now. There might be times that it's really hard hit. I mean, as I said, COVID hitting everybody around us now. A lot of businesses not as profitable and maybe even downsizing. But you know what? The pendulum is going to shift. Yeah. We have that in 1997, and then we have the 2007 economic recession. We all lived through it. Correct. So you know what? I'm sure, if not to this year, by next year, COVID will be over. It's like another big flu. We call it the big flu, and then everything will get recovered. It's just asking us to do things a little bit differently, like we having this conversation instead of face to face, right? Perfect. So really, I would say not necessarily advice, but you know what? Just adapt to what you are. Yeah. Enjoy every moment of it, and reflect, and be ready to change.
Okay.
if it's and change your course if this doesn't work out to the way you want, rather than sticking on something just for the sake of sticking on it.
What's one of your personality traits get you in the most trouble?
Actually, you know what? I think I come across even here. I speak pretty fast, right? I could be sometimes a little bit impatient,
Okay.
and the fact that I am also quite I am a quite a result-oriented person, and it's again, it sounds very professional, but even personally, right? If I want to get something, I want I remember sharing as with a friend. There was a piece of wallet, actually just a piece of leather goods
Yes.
that I really like. I was so determined to get it.
Okay.
I went through all the store within the one day. I mean, luckily Hong Kong is very small, so it's not like it was. I just sometimes it's crazy that way.
Yes.
But because of that desire, it could be a little bit pressure for the people around me sometimes, because then they feel the pressures like, oh, I have to do it because she's looking for it or whatever, right? So I really have learned that. I'm happy actually, part of the mentee I have, also with some of the peer level, they are nice enough and they are brave enough actually to come up with feedback and share with me that helped me to change and adapt my style a little bit. Because at the end, we can still get to the same results with different way of doing it, right? So yes, I have my that is a good trait. When you're focused, you get a result, but it could also hurt you because if you get too much pressure around for the people around you. So I would say that if that's really one, that might be one of them that I learn it and I hopefully I wouldn't say I master it now, but at least I'm much better than I was before.
Okay. Oh, what an inspiration, from the risk taker to the leader to the determined individual, both in the office and outside of the office, to the mentor, to the giver, to the professional that I've gotten to know over the years. I thoroughly appreciate your time today and your insight. Thanks so much for your time, Jane.